Good morning. Welcome to our daily devotion. It is Thursday, June 3rd. Had a good meeting last night with Crash, our youth group. Those young people just never cease to impress me. We talked about what it meant to be the greatest in Jesus, God's kingdom, and it's being a servant. And amazing how these young people are stepping up to be servants. Morning, Serena. Good to have you with us last night. Morning, Marcy. We're in Matthew chapter 24. We're continuing where the disciples asked Jesus what the signs of the end times were, and Jesus proceeds to tell them. So we're going to continue. I'm going to be reading from verse 9. Jesus says, "Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. At that time many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But he who stands to the end will be saved." Jesus continues to tell the disciples the signs of the end of the world, signs that happened in their lifetime. You see, the end times are every time, ever since Jesus left earth, is called the end times. So, good morning, Lily. Morning, Will. Morning, Alicia. Know that, good morning, Mary. It's not just the end of the world. The end times are every day since Jesus left earth. So a lot of these things happened in the disciples' time. The disciples were convinced that the end of the world was going to happen in their lifetime. So Jesus tells them that they will be persecuted and they'll be put to death. And then it says they will be hated by all nations. The Israelites will be hated by all nations. We see that in the Middle East, how Israel is like the lone wolf there in the Middle East. All the Arab countries detest them, hate them. But Jesus warned them that they would be persecuted and put to death. Peter was hung upside down. They came to hang him, and he said he wasn't worthy to die the same way Jesus was, so they hung him upside down. And other books at that time said that his wife was forced to watch him as he died on the cross upside down. Morning, Paul. Paul was beheaded. James was beheaded. The other James, the brother of Jesus, they took him to the top of the pinnacle of the temple, threw him off the temple, and then proceeded to beat him to death with a club. Many were flogged and put to death by all kinds of means, drugged by horses, pulled apart by horses. They all were persecuted and put to death. But look at the promise that Jesus gives them, okay? Because we talked about this in my message on Sunday a couple weeks ago. Boy, who would want to be a disciple of Jesus if that was the outcome of being a disciple, being tortured and put to death at a young age just because you're a disciple of Jesus? But remember that this world is very short in comparison to eternity. So listen what Jesus promises them. He says, "I tell you the truth," he says to his disciples, "at the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." It's like Jesus telling them, you as a result of you suffering and dying, being tortured you are going to rule with me in heaven now for eternity. So sure, their life was terrible, but eternity, forever and ever and ever, ruling on a throne with Jesus. What an incredible promise, just as a result of being his disciple. And he says many false prophets will appear, deceive many people. People are being deceived today with half-truths and false teaching. It says the love of many will grow cold. 2 Timothy gives a further description here. It says in 2 Timothy 3, starting in verse 1, It says, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, have nothing to do with them. Doesn't sound real fun, does it? What the last days are going to be like? Just from reading this in Timothy, and I'm sure that if we were to go through these one by one, we would see where much of this is happening today. And then it says, then finally in verse 24 of 14 of Matthew, says Jesus says, and then the gospel of the kingdom will be preached to the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So Jesus gave all those other signs as just forerunners, and he says, but when the gospel is preached to the ends of the earth, he says, then the end will come. So we know that's one of the signs of knowing when the end times is when the gospel gets preached to all ends of the world. That was interesting because I thought, boy, with internet now and with cell phones, boy, this is a prime time. But then I looked up online to find out what percent of the world owns a cell phone. And it was like 13%. So, no, in the United States, everyone has a cell phone. You see homeless people with a sign, will work for food, looking at their cell phones. So most people in America have stuff, but that's not true in the rest of the world. So it's not like people in India and Africa and China are looking at their cell phones, that they don't have them. So is the gospel going to reach the ends of the earth? I can't answer that. I don't know. I know when I talk to the people from India that go to our church that set up, that, as you know, the people that you support, these children grow up, and when they get older, they start getting trained, and then they send them out into villages to plant churches. And so when they go to those villages, those people are hearing about Jesus for the first time. Now imagine how many villages there are in India. Gosh, countless villages. The gospel is just starting to be reached there. So is this a sign? There's other signs that I've taught you before. If you listen to my previous messages on the end and the signs of the end of the world, and it's given in 2 Thessalonians. I'll just read it quickly. It says, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and being gathered to him, we ask you not to become easily unsettled or alarmed by some prophecy, report, or letter supposedly to have come from us, saying the day of the Lord had already come. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs. Now, in other scriptures, translations, it says the apostasy. The rebellion, we know what rebellion means. Apostasy means a great turning away. So the end will not come until there's a great turning away of the faith. And that is this, and then the man of lawlessness is revealed, the Antichrist, government leader, world leader that's respected, that's going to be possessed by Satan himself. The man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. This world leader, I'll just give you a little brief, this world leader is going to be respected by everybody. As Revelation says, that he's going to have a near-death experience, but he's going to miraculously survive it. He's going to be together with a false prophet, which is a world spiritual leader, and then he's going to save the world. And the whole world is just going to be amazed by what these two people do, the Antichrist and the false prophet. It says, but then he's going to turn and tell the world that he is the Christ and he is to be worshipped. And it says he sets up in the temple to be worshipped. So when these three things happen, know that the end is right around the corner. When the gospel reaches the ends of the earth, when there's a great turning away of the faith, and when the Antichrist, a world leader, saves the world and professes to be the Christ. Those are the signs of the end of the world. God bless you all. Thanks for watching. We will continue with Matthew. It goes on even further now. It's going to talk a little bit about the Antichrist, even here now in Matthew. So I hope to see you all again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for the continuation of our daily devotions. Everybody have a great day, okay? God bless you all. Morning, Grace. I hear that Irene is doing well, that she's in recovery. That's just great news. Keep us informed, please, so that many people have been praying for her. So keep us informed of how she's doing. God bless you all. Have a great day.